as student rep, I was asked basically by the course leader, and in the first year anyway, to do the student rep job, and then in the second year, when I saw some exec posts come up, I thought, well, that's an ideal opportunity to move on and to get more experience. So I got a bit of that from the Students' Union, a bit from other lecturers and from other meetings where people suggested it might be a good idea. So it's quite simple.
Oh, that sounds good. In probably October, I sent an email to the current education officer because I'd previously been a course rep at Hallam on my last degree, and I wanted to join the student rep management group again and be a part of that. And I got an email back from them asking me to join, but they noticed that I wasn't actually a student rep. So what they did was they asked me if I wanted to become a faculty rep instead. Right. So I looked into it and then decided that I wanted to take the role on.
Yes, there was some training involved down at the hubs, and also input from other members of staff where we had sort of core groups to discuss what their role was. And in some ways, it wasn't that clear cut with student rep and faculty rep, because there's quite a big difference. It seemed quite difficult to separate the two at first. But yeah, we weren't just thrown into the deep end. We did get some training.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that one. Like there are some similarities, but then there's quite a lot of differences between the two roles as well. And I have noticed that. I attended inductions as well at the hubs, and we've got the Blackboards site as well, which has been quite handy. And I've been able to speak with other faculty reps and see and get advice from them and other members of the staff.
Well, I'm on two different execs. So I'm on the academic board, which meets every 2 months, I think it is, which is quite a high sort of level meeting. But it's quite interesting seeing sort of some of the other sort of quite key decisions, how they're made and how they're sort of formulated. So that's twice, once every 2 months, like I say. So I've been to 3 so far. And then I was on the what's it called? Resources Online Steering Group, which is a Students' Union-based group, as far as I understand. That's been a bit complicated sometimes because although I knew about resources online, they come with lots of statistics and lists of this and that, and it's quite difficult to decipher sometimes. But it's quite interesting seeing what some people want and what some people don't, and how a lot of things are being steered to online resources. Especially at the last meeting, I said, well, I find paper resources better because you can't really flick through a online resource as well as you can a paper and write on it. But there was a mixture of two, so that's been quite interesting.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that one. I am a member of the Student Rep Management Group, which basically looks at the student rep system as a whole and tries to focus on any areas that we might need improvement on, or there's students and members from all different departments and levels at the university who meet together about every 4 to 5 weeks. It's quite engaging. I like to see the different levels of input that are put in and what the university is currently working on as a whole or individually in departments. And it's quite interesting to see the ideas that are coming up for the next generation of student reps that are going to be coming through as well. I'm also a member of the, I'm not too sure if it's is it the Fit to Practice? Yes, I'm also a member of that, but I actually haven't managed to make it to any meetings yet because whenever there's been meetings, I've been at placement, so I haven't been able to make that one.
It can be time consuming if you read absolutely every piece of paper that gets sent to you for the meeting, because sometimes it's just like, last time I think for the academic board there were probably about 100 pages of documents, so I have to admit tend to flick through them and sort of pick out the key bits or the thread or the theme of what it's about, and then pick the rest of it up at the meeting. But the meetings themselves are usually on time and quite strict to timing so that they don't go on forever. So it's been okay. Some weeks it's felt like I've had 2 or 3 a week, and other weeks there's been big gaps. So like you say, sometimes you can't get to them because you're on placement or got lecturers. So but as a whole, it's been fine. Yeah,
I mean, as long as you send your apologies, then. Yeah, I mean, I haven't found it too difficult. in honesty. I mean, I sometimes may have to put more time in if I can't make it to a meeting, because then I have to read all of the notes and then make my own comments and then send it back to the committees. But I haven't found it too difficult. I've been able to balance it quite well alongside my studies. I do feel like my opinion counts, and that I'm able to provide an insight that they may necessarily not have been aware of or had limited information on.
Yeah, I definitely found it's been really helpful at the academic board, because they actually also want that input, and they want information how if they come up with an idea whether they think it'll work or it won't. So it's been quite good, and I'm always at all the meetings I'm always asked if there's anything. There's always a slot for the faculty rep to say if they've got something to bring or whatever, or like you say, email the secretary through and it can be brought up and put on the agenda. So yeah, I've not felt put off or not accepted or not wanted at the meetings at all. If anything, it's been the opposite, being very warmly welcomed, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's really a really important role. A lot of the committees, like we said, are quite high sort of power in the university, and if you want things to change from a student perspective, if you've not got anybody there, it's really difficult, isn't it, to then push things forward sometimes. So I think I find it really interesting, and yes, it's time consuming, but I get more from it than giving up some time.
Yeah. I would, but I'd definitely say make sure, if you're doing something like a master's or postgraduate course, make sure that you have the time for it, and just basically just know that there is how do I put it, a reasonable a level of work that you have to do, and just be ready for the role, basically. Be ready to take it up.
Yeah. I think I would definitely say to people to give it a go. And I think you need to speak to somebody who's possibly been a faculty rep before, just to get an idea of what it entails. Yeah. And yeah, it does seem obviously the courses that have got more placements and things, you've got to be able to juggle that a little bit, and it's sometimes difficult to get to meet up. But I think if you're interested enough to do it, I think it's easy to fit it in if you're bothered about it. If you're going into it just because you think it'll be something that looks good on your CV, then probably not a good idea, because you need to put more into it. But yeah, definitely. Yeah,
no, I have enjoyed it. It's been intense, but I would recommend it.
Yeah, it's quite interesting seeing the different power structures sometimes. Yeah. I found that interesting. But yeah, I'd definitely recommend anyone to do it and give it a go.